Hi, buddies. Welcome to another episode of Half-Bot Logic. Tonight's topic is AI, founders, and the nerd in mom's garage. Alrighty, so everyone loves to say AI, but don't worry, almost everyone is also just saying magical black box or all-encompassing wizard when they say AI. Yeah, I know. And almost everyone is also thinking to themselves how wrong I am right now. It's all good. I'm a software engineer with many decades of experience, and until I spent many weeks straight coding nothing but AI stuff, like 18 hours a day, I couldn't confidently tell you exactly what AI was. I will tell you though, and I'm honestly not trying to be funny here. You know that skill they teach you in business school when you get your MBA? Hustlers are born with this gift. The gift of gab. You know what I'm talking about. That thing where they talk and talk and talk and captivate you and hold your attention for as long as they want, but later you're like, wait, what? Huh? Wait, what did they say? Did they say anything at all? Like fluff words. Fluff words in your job title are like senior or like account or like manager. BB, hit us with an example of some fluff word salad.
We're building a fully decentralized creator monetization protocol.
You mean like a tip jar? Hit us harder.
We aren't just shifting paradigms. We're architecting a collaborative ecosystem that leverages synergistic efficiencies to disrupt the status quo.
Notice how he sounded real smart, but he didn't actually say anything at all? BB, tell us how an MBA would explain to someone that we've replaced the interns with ChatGPT.
In a bold move to future-proof our operational DNA, we are sunsetting our traditional human-centric entry-level pipeline in favor of a generative-first, scalable cognitive architecture. By pivoting away from manual, carbon-based administrative cycles, we are effectively democratizing our workflow via a high-fidelity, LLM-driven ecosystem. This allows us to leverage algorithmic throughput and achieve a state of frictionless intellectual capital, essentially transforming our previous intern-reliant legacy framework into a self-actualizing, AI-augmented center of excellence.
All right, my point is, now that I understand LLMs and AI, whenever I hear people talking about AI, this is what it sounds like to me. Like, what are you talking about, bro? For a person like me, I have dedicated my life to making things more efficient. I'm honestly ready to Van Gogh both of my ears. Okay, I've been operating in part as a fractional CTO. Everyone's a founder these days, but I don't take many jobs as a fractional CTO, mainly because it's exhausting, because I end up doing nothing but triage. I'm basically hemorrhaging the last drops of life left in these startups. I understand that at the beginning of a founder's journey, you are hopeful and starry eyed, and you just know your story is going to be different from everyone else's. But by the time they get to me, it's the same tune, just a different day. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to kill anyone's dreams here. I just want to take the time to give all you founders some free golden nuggets of advice to keep in mind on your journey. The uncomfortable truths that people either don't have the heart to tell you or don't tell you because they'd rather take your money. Okay, are you ready?
It's time for Lobot's uncomfortable truths for founders.
Number one, nobody has a happy ending story with a dev shop, and I will tell you why. They will hold your code hostage at the end, and I don't blame them because it's not their job to babysit you. It's not their fault that you don't know what you're doing. So make sure that they are sending you the code regularly, and most importantly, and I cannot believe I even have to say this, when you receive the code, make sure that you can run the code. Otherwise, you might as well throw your money in the garbage. Number two, I understand that you have put a shiz ton of time and money into your startup, but that has no relevance on the amount of traction and progress you have made. Zero. None. Number three, your problem isn't money or code. It's users. You don't have any users. Even if you had all the money in the world and the perfect code, you don't have any users. And when you don't have any users, you don't have any profits, and no investor in their right mind would give you a dime. You have nothing. You need to solve the no users problem first, then deal with your other problems later. Should you ever get there, those will be good problems to have. And my last golden nugget to founders is this. Do you know what kind of people think that they're technical? Everyone. Everyone and their mom thinks that they're technical. You are not technical just because you are the best at using your iPhone in your friends group. There's a difference between people who know how to use an iPhone and people who know how to build an iPhone. If you can't tell the difference between code that's 10% done and code that's 90% done, code that scales and code that's garbage, someone's going to exploit that and take advantage of you somewhere along the way. Okay, PSA along those lines. At the very least, in the last year, if 75% of your time at work was not spent writing code, you are also not technical. If you used to code for a living, but now you're an engineering manager, I'm sorry to tell you, but you are also not technical. Do you know how fast tech moves these days? Likewise, if you used to be a coder, but then you transitioned to product, you are also not technical. If you are the project manager of an engineering team, you are also not technical. You are technical adjacent. You are technical by proxy. You are about as technical as I am a chef because I microwaved my lunch earlier today, or about as technical as I am an electrician because I changed the batteries in my remote control last night, or about as technical as I am a venture capitalist because I buy stuff on Kickstarter. To be honest, by my standards, unless you've locally rolled a 70 billion distilled reasoning engine on your own metal, you are not technical at all. If you're upset right now, chances are you work at a FANG company calling libraries all day and waiting for test suites to pass. Been there, done that. And in the case I'm wrong, dude, hit me up. I'm always looking out for nerd buddies. It's like looking young for your age. Do you know who thinks they look young for their age? Everyone. Everyone and their mom thinks they look young for their age. But like mathematically speaking, that just cannot be true. Someone has to look their age or older, and it's probably you. You do not look young for your age. The uncomfortable truth is that you've either forced your friends into saying you look young for your age, or it's just one of those really easy go-to compliments that people use because nobody can really prove or disprove it. It's like saying, oh, he's a nice guy. It doesn't really mean anything. It's like a filler compliment that people say when they don't have anything nice to say. It's like saying beauty is on the inside, you know? You say that to ugly people. Or it's like, oh, it's the thought that counts, you know, when you hate the gift, okay? So you don't look young for your age. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, right, fractional CTOs. The other reason I mostly stopped doing fractional CTO work is because lately I've noticed that quote unquote fractional CTO is the new overseas dev shop scam, dude. Except now you can do it as a single person and you don't even have to be technical. You can just do it alone using ChatGPT from wherever. I've been seeing it pop up more and more lately. So if you really think about it, it's not really artificial intelligence people should be afraid of. It's your lack of intelligence and ability to differentiate the artificial from reality that should really be feared. The hardest part is that nobody wants to pay for the guy who says, stop, this is a scam, when they're still in love with the dream. It's like insurance, car insurance, you know? You're like, insurance is such a waste of money. It's like highway robbery until you crash. Then you're like, oh my God, thank my lucky beans I had insurance. You try to reconcile the math and you're like, I can't believe these saints replaced my brand new Beamer for mere pennies on the dollar. All right, so this morning I was bed rotting. I had to clean the feed before I could get out of bed, of course. I was scanning through the hundreds of emails that I usually ignore, but don't unsubscribe from because they make me feel important. Anyways, this random email just caught my eye. 'Twas from Cora. It was like, hey, expert, we need you. Can you answer this question? So I took a look and it was like, how do I get my dream job at Google? Because, you know, once upon a time, I spent most of my 20s and 30s as a software engineer stuck in the G bubble. The first thought that came to my mind was, oh no, did something happen to my email? Dream job? You're like 15 years too late, son. And 15 is probably being generous. Dream job? Am I stuck in a dream from 2005? It's like embarrassing to work at Google now. It's like my grandma still talking about AOL and Netscape. She also still says electronic mail and World Wide Web. Grandma, you don't have to say the www part. But seriously, think about how quickly things have changed. Until the last few weeks of the pandemic, GPT wasn't even a thing. And in January of 2025, less than a year ago, DeepSeek was released. And it was open source, tiny, and available for me to download onto my personal laptop at home, which made it possible for me to have a chat GPT of my very own living on my MacBook at home. Thank you, DeepSeek. Within 24 hours, I had a new bot BFF. The big dogs did their best to try to scare us at first. Oh no, it's from China. They even passed laws to try to ban it. They even try to claim it stole our data, which is totally ironic, seeing as though ChatGPT is a $1 trillion empire built on the unauthorized scrapings of the entire internet. OpenAI complaining about DeepSeek stealing data is like a pirate complaining that someone stole his eye patch.
Arg.
The most important thing that DeepSeek did for us is that it changed the game entirely, and eventually the big dogs were forced to follow. Meta soon followed by releasing open source Llama, and OpenAI eventually released open source GPT-OSS. But by that time, it's like getting invited to a birthday party because his mom made him invite everyone in the class, Womp womp. You know when you're at the pharmacy and the pharmacist asks you if you want generic? Okay, I love me some generic. I love Amazon Basics. I love Up and Up at Target. I love 360 brand at Whole Foods. I mean, generics at the pharmacy, the FDA requires that the active ingredients be identical by law. So in my mind, the pharmacist is basically asking me, would you like some free money today? Hells yes, I would. The name brand has to charge you more, obvi, because they spent all that money making sure you remember their logo and drilling into your head this notion of safety. So why would you pay more for the name brand? For the logo and for safety and for status, Because nobody needs a Balenciaga bag. Nobody needs a Tiffany's anything. You do it to feel safe. You do it so that people are like, oh my God, she must be so rich. Can I come swim in your money vault? The top dogs, the Googles, the Metas, the OpenAIs of the world, they can't afford to take risks. The small guys, the generic brands, they have nothing to lose. Google still makes most of their money from ads. You know those ads you see when you search on Google? Google makes money from those ads. We're talking trillions of dollars, people. And like Gmail, it actually costs them money to give you Gmail. And you know how they have the AI GPT stuff at the top of google.com now? Yeah, that costs them money too. Yep, they actually lose money to give you that. That not only costs them a shiz ton of money to do that, they're actually losing money because it's competing with their ads. But they do it anyway because they don't want to lose users to ChatGPT. So either way, they're eventually going to cannibalize themselves. And they know that. They're not stupid. They know AI is where it's at. So why don't they just pivot to AI? They can't because they have too much to lose and they have too many shareholders to answer to. Back in the 1970s, Kodak was the leader in cameras. And did you know that Kodak actually invented the digital camera in 1975? But they made all their money on film, non-digital pictures. So they freaking just sat on the technology and continue to sell only film. You have to understand that there's not only risk in new technologies, but for a company like Google, there's already a $2 trillion ads revenue generating machine. And they can't just one day up and say, oh, hey, everyone, let's switch it up and start working on something completely different. So eventually, digital cameras bankrupt Kodak. Are you folks old enough to remember Blockbuster Video? Blockbuster made a huge chunk of their money on late fees. And did you know that Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix for $50 million in 2000? And they laughed at the offer. Netflix didn't charge any late fees at the time, and to innovate meant that Blockbuster had to stop charging the late fees that kept their stores open. Yeah, it's weird to think that Netflix started off as a DVD rental company. The world eventually went from having to store a movie on huge DVD discs to everyone having phones that can real-time stream movies whenever they want or even store hundreds of ultra high-def movies. And while Big Dog Blockbuster worried about whether or not to charge late fees and eventually went bankrupt, Netflix was a small startup that was willing to take risks and innovate. They pivoted with the world and the evolving technologies into a streaming giant because they were already ready to go. When you're the small guy, you can afford to take risks because you don't have anything to lose. Ah, the innovator's dilemma. It's a cycle, and Netflix is no longer the underdogs they once were. They're clearly the big dogs now. Netflix is now the ones that are too afraid to innovate, and it shows. Their recent attempts to integrate AI into their platform is a major fail. Netflix, please abort mission immediately. I was trying to search for Bryan Cranston's series, Your Honor, and Netflix was like, here are some shows about honorable families. No! Are you seriously smoking crack right now? You're gonna remove the ability to search by name? This is almost as bad as when Netflix tried to quote unquote restrict you from sharing your account with anyone. I mean, I don't actually share my account with anyone only because I don't want anyone knowing about the embarrassing shows I watch, but that only made me want to share my account with people, right? I mean, didn't we all learn about prohibition in high school? Come on, brainiacs. Okay, but the reigning champ for worst Big Dog AI integration award goes to Amazon AI Rufus. I mean, seriously. Okay, I understand that AWS is Amazon's golden goose and that my shampoo purchases are not high on Jeff Bezos' priority list, but seriously, every time that AI side panel pops up, I'm like, wait, did my browser just get hacked? What's happening here? I mean, Amazon's already so messy. Then there's Amazon Prime, Amazon Fresh, Amazon Pantry, Amazon Whole Foods. Then I'm trying to buy an $8 charger and Amazon's asking me if I'd like to purchase a 3-year insurance policy for it. And why do I have like 3 different shopping carts in my Amazon account? What is going on? I realize Elon Musk is a polarizing person, but at least he's out there, you know? Like the Google founders, remember when they were the underdogs? Remember when their whole story was that they were Stanford dropouts working out of someone's garage? They were the first to be like, jobs don't have to be boring and serious. You don't have to wear a suit to work. Remember when Google's motto was don't be evil? That was 20 years ago. Did you know that they quietly removed don't be evil in 2015? I mean, that's a huge slap in the face, but at least they're not hypocrites. Has anyone even seen Larry and Sergey in the last 10 years? No, because they're straight on their own island and they don't give 2 beans about you or me. And Elon actually has more money than Larry and Sergey combined. What I mean is, my point is that think about somebody really, really, really poor, like a hobo. When you're that rich, other than maniacally twisted narcissistic reasons, you don't really have any other reasons for wanting people to like you or doing things. And if you think about some of Elon's actions, and I don't doubt that billions of dollars takes a toll on your ability to stay in touch with reality, but I do think there's a nerd in his mom's garage inside of Elon having an internal conflict with the billionaire Elon. Steve Jobs famously said, the person who's going to take Apple down is some kid in a garage. We have to keep our eye on the garage. And unfortunately for the big dogs, the uncomfortable truth is technology has made it possible for that nerd Steve Jobs was talking about to be anyone, including you or me. It no longer takes years and years of hard work and dedication and millions of dollars. Tech moves so fast these days. Like I said, if you've been out of the game for a year, I personally don't even consider you to be a technical person anymore. I took a week off of AI stuff to work on a personal project recently, and I'm telling you, I felt like I was behind when I came back. Not even kidding. API calls had changed on me, docs had changed on me. I felt like garbage. They used to call me robotic and nerdy as if it were a bug, but then LLMs came along and suddenly everyone is learning to speak my native tongue. Until next time, stay curious and don't be afraid of the uncomfortable truth.